Hey guys, welcome back to One Pretty Little Box. I am going to share in this video 2 pies and a cake with you. That's it. Gosh, my eyes are really red and puffy. I've been reading and finishing a book that I'm going to do a book review on, and of course it made me cry. But that's okay, don't have time to stop. So, you guys, I hope that you enjoy it. It's a pecan pie, a pumpkin pie, and the best chocolate cake you'll ever make. All the ingredients and directions are listed below in the description box, so let's get baking. Alright guys, like most houses in the United States, today is dessert baking day. Tomorrow is our Thanksgiving celebration, which you guys will see this video that day, so happy Thanksgiving. What I'm going to make today are 2 pies and a cake. I'm going to make a pumpkin pie, a pecan pie, and the best chocolate cake you'll ever make. They're all three kind of easy. You know, the chocolate cake is it takes more time than the pies. Pies you just kind of throw together. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to mix up. So here we go. Guys, for your traditional pumpkin pie, which is what I'm going to make. Hold on. There's no butter melting for the other pie. For traditional pumpkin pie, you're going to take a whole can of pure pumpkin. This is a 15-ounce can. Alright. Just dump it in your bowl. The dog thinks this is for her. But it is not. Stop, Shelby. And she won't leave me alone today. We have a cold front coming through, and I think she's feeling it. Perfect. I'll try to get most of it in there. We're going to do 2 eggs. Guys, this really is the simplest. I find it funny when people buy pumpkin pie when it's so simple. I get it, I guess, if you don't like it, but most people in my home like it. You're going to use a whole can of carnation evaporated milk. It's a 12-ounce can. And I put in a half a teaspoon of salt, as you saw. And I am going to put in 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice by McCormick. It is one of the best. And that's it. Seriously. I'm just going to whisk it together. The boys always say the hardest part about pumpkin pie is waiting to eat it the next day, because I do like to make it the day before. We like to serve it with a dollop of whipped cream on top, or squirt of Ready Whip if that's what you have. And your pie is basically done. I have it was a frozen pie crust. I defrosted it so it'd be ready to go. And you just dump it in. I tried to get the deep dish, but they were out. So this is probably going to bake up a little bit. I have a little filling left, as you see. I do not have room for that in my pie crust. I'm going to put it in a 425-degree oven for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to reduce my time to 350, and it bakes another, I think it's 45 minutes to an hour. And honestly, while this starts at the 425, I'm going to mix up the pumpkin pie because it bakes at 350, and so then both pies are cooking, and it just works out to be pretty easy. I did forget to mention, when I put it in the oven, I put it on a pan that is foil lined so that if there's any run over, it doesn't get in my stove. Yes, my stove needs to be cleaned, But that is that. So I'm gonna stick this in the oven and then we're gonna make the pecan pie. You guys are so gonna laugh at me because I put this in the oven and I was starting to do the pecan pie, getting ready to do it for you, and I remembered I didn't put the sugar. So I'll pull it out, I dumped it back in the bowl, added my sugar, which is 3/4 cup of sugar, stirred it all in, wiped around the edge the best I could of the crust, dumped it, mixed up the pumpkin pie filling, and I poured it in. So ta-da! It's not going to taste just like straight pumpkin. That would have been quite the surprise. So don't forget your sugar. I'm going to list all the ingredients in the description box below, or maybe after this clip right here before I begin the pumpkin pie, the pecan pie. Alright, now we're going to move on to the pumpkin pie. This is going to take 2 tablespoons of butter melted, which you see I've already done. Then I like to add in my sugar, my white sugar, and you're going to put in a full cup of sugar. That's a 1/2 cup. That's a cup. And then I'm going to put in a cup of corn syrup. I like Cairo brand. Let me open it for you. And one reason I really appreciate this brand is because I don't have to get a measuring cup nasty anymore, because it has this wonderful line where it says 1 cup, and that's exactly what I'm going to use. So I kind of just eyeball it. When you think you have too much, it's still not enough. See? I'm looking at that line if you're wondering what I'm doing. Let me put just a smidgen more. And that should be right at a cup, which is perfect. So then I'm going to get a spoon. I'm going to just kind of mix this together before I do anything else. This does get pretty thick. If you ask my kids, this is the best part of the pecan pie, is this part. Then we're going to add in 3 whole eggs. I like mixing my stuff up right here next to the sink because I can just kind of use it as my trash bowl for the moment. I'm going to put in a teaspoon of vanilla. I like to double that, so I'm going to put 2 teaspoons. It makes it really rich and just gives it a special kick. Most recipes do not call for salt, but I am going to kind of just zhuzh in a little bit. It brings the sweetness out, if you did not know that. How are you guys doing? How's your baking coming? As you see, these really come together very easily, because then once they're mixed, all you gotta do is bake them and they're done. So if you've got a party get together to go to, sign yourself up for a pie, especially a pumpkin or a pecan pie. There we go. And it calls for, usually most recipes call for 1.5 to 2 cups of pecans. I personally eyeball this, and I'd like to use pecan halves. Some people like to use pecan pieces. That's probably about 3/4 cup, and that should be probably perfect. I do not sit and put them all on top because they rise to the top. Now to this, you could add some chocolate chips, which is delicious. You could also add some chocolate and caramel bits, and that is really delicious. Again, it's another, oh, do y'all see that? I cut my finger on foil. That's another frozen defrosted pie crust that is ready to go. And I literally just pour this in. Again, because it's not a deep dish, it is going to fill it pretty quickly. Then what I like to do is kind of just move the pecans around where they are all kind of spread out a little bit, not all clumped up together. And in this stuff I have a couple pecans left. I'm not going to have room for all that filling. And that, my friends, is a perfect pecan pie. Okay, this will go into a 350-degree oven. You can also reduce it to 325 if you like. At 350, you're going to bake it for about 60 to 75 minutes, just depending on when it's done. You'll know. I'm actually going to reduce the temperature on my pumpkin and this pecan pie to 325, and this will probably cook for about 60 minutes still because it's not a deep dish crust. I'll check it at 50 and see how it's going. And I will show you guys the finished product. Alright guys, now for the easiest chocolate cake you'll ever make, and probably the best in my opinion. I found this by accident online. I don't even know where to link it to. So here you go. You're gonna mix. I know that there's a way to do it where people say that your cake is the best. Trust me on this, it doesn't matter. I tend to dump it all in and then mix it, because then it doesn't get over mixed. So this is 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar. Yes, I know. This is a cup of buttermilk. It is actually a cup of milk with a tablespoon of lemon juice in it. That makes your own. You're going to use 2 eggs. This is like the epitome of a dump cake, guys. It's a 1/2 cup of cocoa. My favorite cocoa. It's about 1/2. My favorite cocoa is this Toll House cocoa. I like it better than Hershey's. I'm gonna swoosh in about a teaspoon or so of vanilla. Then it's gonna be where did it go? I do need a teaspoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Kind of dip those a little bit, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Guess what? We're almost done. I am not kidding. 1/2 teaspoon. I am going to turn on pause real quick because I need to run the water to get some hot water. I forgot. I need to add a cup of oil. That's right. It's not butter. It's oil. So I'm going to use a cup of Crisco. Do not use olive oil in this. This is not an olive oil cake. Okay. Okay, I'm going to mix this up. You guys, I'm only 2 minutes and less than 3 minutes into making this cake, and we're all seriously almost done. I do not use a hand mixer for this, and you are probably going to think this is kind of thick, but I still need to add one more thing towards the end. And I think that's what sets it, what makes it the best. This is a very super duper moist cake. As you see, it comes out very smooth. I have one little lumpy lump of cocoa in there. There it goes. Now, the last thing you're going to add to this is 1 cup of hot water. You're going to mix it very carefully so don't slosh it everywhere. You're going to pour this into I sprayed a 9x13 pan with Pam. I'm going to pour this in. You bake it at 350 for 30, I think it said 33 to 48 minutes, somewhere in between there. I usually pull mine out about 35 to 45 minutes. Sometimes I will bake this in a longer lasagna pan, but since I'm doing the 9x13 because I need that for rolls tomorrow, I will probably cook it right at 45 minutes. You'll know when it's done. There is a homemade frosting for this, but I'm not going to make it till it cools because I don't like to really make it ahead of time. And there you go, guys. That is the easiest chocolate cake in the world. And I promise it will be the best you've ever had. So for potluck, this is another thing you can take. Spatula. I guess they're all in the dishwasher. This is another thing you could take because it really does not take long. I have been known to make it, pop it in the oven, go take a shower, and start getting ready. And then finish it before I leave the house. And there you go. So as soon as my pies come in, I'm going to put this in. And I will come back and when it cools, and I'm going to show you how to make the frosting, and then you'll be done. You'll be done with 3 desserts in no time.